Hello, my name is Marcy, and I am reading the Provincetown banner today. Today's Wednesday, April 23rd. There are four stories on the front page. So let's go with those and see what else there's time to do. The first story is titled, What's the Chance Marconi Beach and Wellfleet will open this summer? This article is written by Denise Coffey. Beach lovers will be able to get to Marconi Beach in South Wellfleet again when a new set of stairs is installed by Memorial Day weekend. Cape Cod National Seashore Superintendent Jennifer Flynn shared the news at a meeting of the Seashore Advisory Commission on Monday. Risers and other components are currently being built. It will be another several weeks before the stairs are installed on the 50-foot bluff, she said. It's too early to do work on the bluff, Flynn said, referring to the potential for storms. Erosion eats up between 3 to 6 feet of bluff a year at the Marconi Beach location. Beach stairs have been replaced in 2010, 2011, 2013, 2017, 2018, 2019, and most recently in 2024, according to the Friends of the Cape Cod National Seashore. A 3-day nor'easter destroyed the most recent set of stairs in September 2024, just 4 months after they were installed. Between 8 and 28 feet of bluff were lost in that storm. The Friends raised more than $125,000 from 200 individual donors to build and install a new set of stairs in time for the 2025 summer season. The nonprofit has filled in financial gaps in the Seashore's federal budget for more than 4 decades. Marconi Beach and the stairs that allow access to it are an economic engine for the Seashore and the Cape in general. The beach has recorded more than 2,000 visits a day during the summer and 150,000 visits annually. In 2024, $357,830 was collected in parking fees, according to the Friends. The Seashore's 5-year budget cycle lasts until 2028, according to the Friends website. Funds for the oft-replaced stairs weren't scheduled to be appropriated until then. Okay, the next story is town meeting approved $4 million to build 30 lower-cost condominiums. This was written by Desiree, I hope I can pronounce this, Nick Vardjem. Provincetown voters approved $4 million for new affordable ownership housing on Shank Painter Road at the former police station as one of the many issues discussed at the annual town meeting on Monday, April 7th. The annual town meeting was at the Town Hall Auditorium at 260 Commercial Street. There were approximately 400 people present, according to Town Clerk Elizabeth Payne. Article number 8 on the town meeting warrant asked voters to approve $4 million to purchase an affordable housing deed restriction on 30 units at the housing project planned by a private developer. The project, known as the Bellwether, is at 26 Shank Painter Road. The Bellwether is the first project of its kind on Cape Cod and will create ownership opportunities for households across a broad income range, something otherwise unattainable in Provincetown's housing market, according to the town. As planned, the Bellwether will consist of 40 condominiums. Of those, 30 units will be sold by lottery below the market price and remain under deed restrictions at resale. The affordable housing condos are intended for year-round residents. The town-owned lot is under a purchase and sale agreement with Ecotecture Development and Design and Salient Development Corporation, according to warrant. As approved, the debt is to be paid off over a 5-year period from the town's existing housing funds. Article number 2 passed, increasing the fiscal 2025 operating budget of $37,223,560 to $41,802,024 for the 2026 fiscal year. residents voted to increase the budget for town departments such as general government, finance, public safety, public works, public services, and public schools. The town asked voters for $1.4 million to increase the funding for a combination fire and emergency medical services department to include 4 full-time staff positions and for a fully staffed police department, according to the town's warrant. The annual tax impact for residents is $26.80 per $100,000 assessed value per year, or $262 per year on median residential property of $979,000. Mark Jorstrom, chair of the town finance committee, spoke on behalf of the majority of the committee in favor of the budget increase. Jorstrom, a California native, outlined the importance of investing in a fire department, referencing the Pacific Palisades fires from earlier this year. "You don't think it could happen to us. It could," Jorstrom said. He then spoke about the importance of having a fully staffed police department for the safety of Provincetown residents. "An attack on any one of us is an attack on all of us," he said. The approval of $1.4 million public safety funds specifically is contingent on a vote of approval at the town election on May 13th. Article number 9 was quickly passed, approving $1.3 million in funding to pay for an affordable housing restriction on 13 year-round apartment rentals to be built at the private housing development at 207 Route 6, known as the Barracks. The money will come from the town's existing housing funds. Article number 17, which asked voters to accept a seasonal community designation for Provincetown, was approved. The seasonal community designation in Massachusetts recognizes communities that have significant seasonal variations in housing demand, visitor populations, and employment. A request by a voter to postpone the article was not approved. State Senator Julian Cyr, Democrat, Provincetown, spoke against postponement and in favor of the article. Under the State Affordable Homes Act, tourism hotspots can unlock new resources tailored for their needs once they are designated as seasonal communities. Governor Maura Healey signed the legislation into law in August 2024. The new law allows seasonal communities to increase the property tax exemption for homes that are the owner's primary residence, create year-round housing for artists, and allow tiny homes to be built by right and used as year-round housing, among other tools, according to the state website. Article number 32, a zoning bylaw amendment seeking to expand the town center commercial district zoning district to allow for more commercialization between Dyer Street and Cook Street was met with pushback. Some residents from the area spoke up against the article, outlining the appeal of having a quieter residential area near Commercial Street. The final vote was hand-counted with 94 in favor and 106 against. Article number 38, an amendment to the Provincetown zoning bylaws for the town's business district along Shank Painter Road to introduce form-based code, was approved. Article number 20, a citizen petition article requested by voter Michelle Axelson and others, asked the town to vote in support of gender-inclusive municipal restrooms. Voter approved the non-binding resolution, which does not include any plans for how the town will incorporate gender inclusion in restrooms. And the next story is titled Cape Cod Seashore Park at Odds with Towns Over Accessory Dwellings. This is by Denise Coffey, and it's Eastham. Does federal law trump local zoning bylaws? Or will the State Affordable Homes Act supersede them all when it comes to building accessory dwelling units in the Cape Cod National Seashore? A spirited discussion along those lines broke out at the Seashore Advisory Commission meeting on April 7th at the Salt Pond Visitor Center. At its heart is the conflict between protecting and preserving the 44,000 acres of the national seashore versus providing housing in a region with little inventory but great demand, and figuring out who controls the right to decide. Accessory dwelling units on private residential property, known as ADUs, were a focus. There's a conflict between the original mandate to preserve open space at the park as it is and the state mandate to increase affordable housing. Richard Delaney, Commissioner Chair, said, if the ADU mandate supersedes the Cape Cod National Seashore mandate, there will be some serious building consequences. When the seashore was established in 1961, enabling legislation outlined the methods by which the U.S. Department of the Interior could acquire property within the seashore. They included paying fair market value or by condemnation of private property. About 500 single-family homes currently lie within the seashore's boundaries, according to Sarah Colvin, communications manager with the Cape Cod Commission. The authority to acquire property by condemnation could be suspended if an owner applied for and met certain national seashore conditions set forth in federal regulations. The owners of those properties were given certificates of suspension of condemnation. The seashore boundaries cross 6 towns: Chatham, Eastham, Orleans, Provincetown, Truro, and Wellfleet. Zoning bylaws for each town's seashore zoning district were meant to be consistent with the objectives of the federal law that established the seashore in 1961. Minimum lot size, setbacks, and other requirements were required of each town, but not every town adopted them. Zoning bylaws for land outside the park boundaries were different, and minimum lot size and setback requirements differ from one town to the next. The Affordable Homes Act, passed in August 2024, was a response to the housing crisis in the state, according to state officials. The law allows the construction of accessory dwelling units by right. The ADUs must be no larger than 900 square feet and can be built by right in single-family zoning districts in all communities. Owners no longer have to live on the lot, as some towns required. Homeowners who build ADUs are obliged to follow local zoning bylaws and regulations, but don't have to get special permits or variances. The state law could have a significant impact on the character of the national seashore, according to Advisory Commission member Heather McElroy. Under the new state law, the seashore required minimum lot size and setbacks wouldn't apply. A wave of ADU construction could result in more people on the land, more cars on the roads, more water usage, and more waste and wastewater to contend with, McElroy said. Increasing density in the seashore goes against everything we've been trying to accomplish for the last 60 years, said Mark Robinson, the state's representative on the commission. Why not just recognize the seashore is a special place? Leave the seashore alone. The housing crunch is especially brutal in Truro, according to Michael Fee, the Truro representative to the Advisory Commission. With one of the highest real estate prices, lowest median incomes, and 70% of its land mass within the seashore boundary, the town intends to allow ADUs by right on private property in the seashore, he said. We see it as a tool we need for housing, Fee said. He added that the town's interpretation of federal law does not match up with that of Seashore Superintendent Jennifer Flynn. We're discussing the nature of that disagreement. The costs of adding an ADU can be prohibitive for a property owner. Truro has 2 applications for ADUs for properties within the seashore. Orleans has 9 permitted ADUs and 3 in the pipeline, but none of our properties within the seashore. Wellfleet has between 210 and 250 properties within the boundaries of the seashore, according to Lillian Green, the Wellfleet representative on the advisory commission. Whether Wellfleet has any applications for ADU permits in the town's Seashore zoning district was not immediately available on Wednesday, April 9th. For Flynn, in an April 9th email to the Times, the enabling legislation that established the National Seashore called for a partnership between the towns and federal government, that it was a shared responsibility to preserve the character of the land, and that ADUs are inconsistent with federal law. Protection could be removed for properties deemed inconsistent with U.S. public law, Flynn added in an email April 9th. Those properties could be subject to eminent domain procedures. Towns have the authority to regulate construction on private property and should be willing to partner with the National Seashore to protect it, she said. The park is actively engaged with town zoning boards and is filing notice on permit applications for ADUs, notifying the property owner of the risk they take related to their CSC, Certificate of Suspension of Condemnation, if they construct the ADU, Flynn wrote. And the final front page story is titled Provincetown Activist Honored in 18-foot-high letters on Mata Field, and it's written by Gwen Friss. Provincetown-based artist Jay Critchley is throwing a farewell party for Mata Field on April 14th, and everyone is invited. It's about our relationship to place. It's also about bringing the community together to remember all of the activity that has taken place on that field over the decades. It's a way to bring the community together and recognize our commonality, Critchley said in a telephone interview Monday. Voters last year approved an $11.8 million bond to pay for construction and site development for the 4+ acre public Mata Field. The new space will include a track, sports fields, and underground drainage. Critchley's art installation, called Grace Gouveia, Smoking Bomb, will honor Portuguese immigrant poet Grace Gouveia, inscribing her poetry with white-lined chalk on the town's historic athletic field, according to publicity for the free public event. On Monday, Critchley was waiting for a break in the weather to craft Mata Field's farewell message, which he said will be written in 18-foot-high letters. The Pilgrim Monument, which overlooks Mata Field, will host the free public event from 4 to 6 p.m. April 14th. Spectators will gather at the monument, 1 High Pole Hill Road, which will open specially for the Monday event and waive its normal $21 admission. Parking is free. Earlier in the day, at 2 p.m., members of the Movimento Dance Project invite the public to join them on Mata Field to create a dance for the 4 p.m. festivities. Saxophonist Ken Field, an acclaimed jazz player who has composed several pieces for the children's PBS series Sesame Street, will play. Ken Field will play his saxophone in the monument from the bottom of the tower. The acoustics are really unique to the structure, Critchley said. There's a reverberation in there that is very special. Yes. Oh, the question is, will the 370-foot monument Pilgrim Tower be open to climb? And yes, the first 50 people to complete the climb will receive a copy of Critchley's book containing a cardboard model of Pilgrim Monument and text by Gouveia. Guests who want to read Gouveia's poetry in Mata Field will have to make the climb. For everyone else, Critchley will read the lines for the first time at the Rain or Shine community ceremony. Gouveia, who died in 1998, was a Portuguese immigrant who came to Provincetown in 1916 at the age of 7. She taught 5th and 6th graders for 27 years, served in Vista, Volunteers in Service to America, as a teacher in Harlem and in Appalachia, and founded the Provincetown Council on Aging. Asked about the project's name, Grace Govia Smoking Bomb, Critchley said she was a chain smoker, and when you would visit in her office when she was running the Council on Aging, she would have a muumuu on and smoke all around as she moved through the room. Critchley said few people knew she was also a poet and wrote about Provincetown and challenges faced by the rapidly growing community. Critchley said he is raising money to publish a book of her poems. Mota Field is the third time Critchley has made an art installation as a farewell, including the Herring Cove Bathhouse, the Meadows Motel on Bradford Street, and the Pilgrim Spring Motel of North Truro. A planned project at the VFW was canceled because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Pilgrim Spring was never a Pilgrim Spring. It sat on unceded Wampanoag lands, so it was a native spring, said Critchley, who encrusted the entire 1950s-era motel in sand and then washed the 25 vacuum cleaners found inside the spring waters. The buildings have memories. The buildings have histories that are a part of the fabric of the community. A piece is being lost, so it's bringing the community together. Critchley said the Mota Field artwork should be visible for weeks until the weather washes it away. Okay, other stories. Here's a very brief public news announcement. Locals poetry reading on April 22 in Provincetown. Locals poetry reading is on Tuesday, April 22 at 6 p.m. at the Stanley Kunitz Common Room at the Fine Arts Work Center. Join Tim Berry, Richard Carey, Marianne Bragg, Rebecca Orchant, and Kathy Shore for the debut of a biannual poetry and prose reading with homegrown writers, sponsored by the Fine Arts Work Center, Pearl Street in Provincetown, 6 to 8 p.m., free and open to all. And next story is titled Cape Cod's Cold-Stunned Sea Turtles Released into Ocean off Georgia by Heather McCarran. What began as a near-death experience on the shores of Cape Cod ended in a hopeful return to the ocean for 22 sea turtles this week, thanks to a coordinated rescue and rehabilitation effort led by the Mystic Aquarium. The turtles were released Wednesday into warmer waters off Jekyll Island, Georgia, marking the largest group of turtles ever returned to the wild at once by the Connecticut Aquarium. Initially found cold, stunned, and washed up on Cape beaches in November and December, the turtles were triaged by the New England Aquarium and transferred to Mystic Aquarium's Animal Rescue Program for long-term rehabilitation care. The 22 turtles released this week included 14 green sea turtles and 6 loggerheads, both considered threatened species, as well as 2 Kemp's Ridley turtles, the most endangered sea turtle species in the world. Our role is to give these sea turtles a second chance at life, improve their chances of long-term survival, and create potential for future hatchlings and growth of the species, said Sarah Callan, Animal Rescue Program Manager at Mystic Aquarium. In their natural habitat, she said, sea turtles face being entangled by fishing gear, eating plastic debris, the loss of habitat, and a changing ocean environment. With that in mind, a focus of the Animal Rescue Program is being a voice for these animals and providing outreach to the public, knowing that our ultimate goal is the long-term health and sustainability of sea turtle species and marine ecosystems globally. Over the winter, veterinary staff provided specialized treatment for each turtle, treating problems like pneumonia, infections, and injuries related to cold exposure. Once healthy, the turtles were loaded into climate-controlled vehicles provided by Mystic Transportation and driven 1,000 miles south accompanied by their caregivers. At the end of a 20-hour journey, the animals were carefully reintroduced to their natural habitat, some carried into the surf by hand, others lumbering down the sand under their own power. The release was conducted in coordination with the Georgia Sea Turtle Center and other partner organizations, including the National Aquarium and Karen Beasley Sea Turtle Rescue and Rehabilitation Center. Mystic Aquarium has been rescuing and rehabilitating marine animals since 1975, along a stretch of coastline that spans Connecticut, Rhode Island, and parts of New York. Its network partner, the New England Aquarium, has also undertaken sea turtle rescue, rehabilitation, and research for more than 30 years. The Boston based institution operates its Sea Turtle Hospital in Quincy, where biologists have successfully rehabilitated thousands of sea turtles and returned them to the ocean. Cape Cod remains one of the most urgent regions for intervention and is closely overseen by the New England Aquarium. Climate change, which has resulted in rising ocean temperatures and northward expansion of sea turtle migration for feeding, is contributing to increased cold stunned strandings. With warm temperatures lingering later into the year, some turtles head south too late, while others get trapped in Cape Cod Bay where the waters stay warmer longer. When the temperature drops below 55 degrees, the turtles become cold stunned, a hypothermic condition that renders them lethargic and unable to eat or swim. Local rescue teams and volunteers along the Cape patrol the beaches each fall and winter, searching for stranded turtles. The success of the ongoing rehabilitation and release efforts is a testament to the hard work of volunteers and organizations like Mass Audubon Wellfleet Bay Wildlife Sanctuary, who have worked alongside marine biologists with the New England Aquarium to rescue cold stunned turtles each year. These cold stunned sea turtles were near death when Mass Audubon Wellfleet Bay staff and volunteers rescued them. So to see them healthy and headed home to the ocean means so much to all of us, said Karen Moore Dourdeville, the Cape Cod Sea Turtle Research Coordinator for Mass Audubon in Wellfleet. Hearing about the 22 turtles returned to the sea this week, she added, makes all the planning, long hours, and pre-dawn beach walks in freezing windy weather worth it. And it's a credit to the amazing work done by our partners who spend months rehabilitating these stunning creatures. Successfully released, these turtles now have a chance to grow up to be adults, say their rehabilitators, with hope that they will breed in the future, furthering this success and the sustainability of sea turtle species even more. And finally, I don't have time to read the entire article in detail, but there's just one more article about a new housing development, an apartment complex called the Clover Leaf Mixed Income Apartments in North Truro on 22 Highland Road had a groundbreaking with 43 units, 39 of which will be income restricted and 4 market rate. And that is being built in North Truro. That's the gist of it. I don't have time to read the details because that's it for today. Thank you.